Well, I want to say just bought a little more platinum. I went below 1500. I'm like, wow. You kind of get. I fall victim to the emotions and my bullishness on the metals too, because I wasn't sure where I figured platinum was going to go below 1600. It could possibly go even below 1500. Well, I decided to buy a little bit. It's probably a good bet because I bought a little bit. Usually when I buy a little bit, it plays out a lot faster than, because I usually buy a little bit because it's scarier. In other words, it's dropping like crazy. Usually those kind of bets turn out better. When I buy more, I usually have to hold on longer. So I could bought silver at 28. I rebought some more silver at 28. And here it's down at 26 something, maybe going lower. Who knows? But I did point out, I ain't Karnak the magician, but I'm really giving you more common sense. And my common sense type business sense, whatever you want to cut, has always been pretty good. It's just that I don't have an absolute crystal ball. Nobody really does. But I've been picking up, I said Mark Faber's been more accurate than anybody. And way back like in, I think when it was like the end of February, like it was around March 1st, when Bernanke made his comments March 1st on 2012, the metals all crashed, And, I looked, I saw there was like a double top in gold. Gold is a better chart to use, actually. And then he was saying that, gold can actually, the correction period's not over with. It can actually go below 1500. And it never really went below 1500. It's actually what's going on is the correction period is a lot longer than people expected. I expected, like the gold chart's better to look at. You'll see like a peak of 1921 on September 6th, around there, on 2011. Then it drops, then it goes up again, it drops, it goes up again. The last lowest height was, I think it was like February 28th, 2012, or March 1st, 2012, around that area, roughly. And you figure it's going to do one more dip, and it's going to break through the lowest low, and then go up from there. That's what I expected. Kind of like what happened during after it hit its high in 2008, and it did like 3 peaks, to hit the first height, and 3 lower lows. It's kind of like the classic way of thinking. But it didn't happen that way. It didn't break through that lowest low yet. And it's just been correcting a really long time, just kind of floating up and down. But the fundamentals for why gold should go up are there. They're printing money like crazy. But I'd have to say that broker up in Chicago area who's on YouTube, Jim Comiskey Metals, I think it is, or something. He's absolutely on the money with as far as the card game, the way the card game goes. I know Goldman-Sachs referred to some of their clients as MUFFETS, and he was talking like, they're telling, they're putting out forecasts that gold's going to drop through the floor, so all the MUFFETS are calling up and saying sell the gold. But, somebody's buying it cheap. That's what's going on. So, I have to say, like, I probably, if gold breaks through 1500, it's definitely a freaking buy. But a lot of the people that are very bullish on metals already have their money mainly in it. So, just be patient. Just be patient. Don't sell. Don't sell. This is bullshit. I can smell it right away, man. It's all bullshit. It's not going to stay this low. And it's going to turn around. And it's going to spring back unexpectedly and all this kind of garbage. We've had too many fake out breakouts since the last high in silver and gold. And I swear I think they're playing a game. I think they're playing a game. The last time we saw silver starting to break out was, I think it was the end of, it was around August of 2012. And then, the QE actually got announced. And I actually stated that I figured he was going to announce QE. But what surprised me is that after it reached and busted through 35, everything deflated again. But there's something I could say that I think people like Bernanke are playing games and in coordination with other people. Because I think it was in December of 2012, Bernanke made this statement that and it wasn't exactly his statement in total. It was also how the major media pumped up certain words in the statement that he was talking about an end to QE, basically predicated on unemployment getting below 6.5% and inflation getting below 2%. But that made the metals markets dive. You see, so that's really how. And then when you look in the concert with how the news stories come out, that's really partly how the manipulation works. I don't really think it's all paper shorting or electronic or manipulations. It's sometimes just leading other people to make rash decisions. And I could see Goldman Sachs, the way they're talking about telling people the forecast for gold is horrible and that the economy's going to rebound and it's better to put all your money in equities because the equities have been going up and it looks like the green shoots in the economy's improving. I don't think so. I don't think so. That's because, like I stated, and I don't see this information because it's not recently, but it was a while ago when I saw the GDP was going up and they had the garbage index dropping like a stone. The garbage index. I haven't seen those numbers. And see, there's no chart on the garbage index. It was something I got off of Bloomberg that somebody compiled a chart from a bunch of raw data on how many trucks were being, hauling garbage in the country, and train loads actually it was. And the garbage index was falling. So, and actually if you look at what happened in the retail sector recently, the retail sector has had, it's been devastated basically. So, you're wondering where in the economy is it moving up? Like, in other words, if the garbage index has been going down when the GDP was going up, I know those are older numbers, but that's the last thing I could see, because it's not like a Bloomberg chart that's produced every month. But I saw that there looked like there had to be some fakery in the GDP numbers, because if the GDP is going up, the more garbage gets thrown away. The more you buy, the more you throw away. It's got a very, very high correlation. And the correlation all of a sudden broke. Like one was going up like this and one was going down like that. That's what happened. So, I suspected that. Now, that was a while ago. But the thing is, the commodities, if there's a lot of pressure on buying, like in other words, if there's all this rosy outlook, then why would industrial commodities get hit? Why would silver, platinum, and palladium get hit? Why would especially platinum get hit? Especially when the mines aren't producing anywhere near enough to meet demand. It's fundamental 101, supply and demand. The only reason the platinum price falls is that they have to keep taking it out of stockpiles. And they also do the same thing with palladium. Those are heavy industrial demand metals, and also silver. So why are they falling? See, that's where their expectations of a rosy economy, and at the same time commodity prices dropping through a stone, are BS. Is BS. And actually, you're probably going to have an even bigger safety in gold than anything, because the economy actually is doing pretty bad, and there's a lot of that's why the commodity prices aren't moving up along with other things like the stock market, because there actually isn't production of goods and services. It's just like the Fed's QE is buying up stocks left and right. But the one thing that probably is receiving a lot of buying pressure is gold. And they want the damn stuff as low as possible to get it as cheap as possible. So you in the middle class, do not give up your gold. Don't. Nickel dime everything you got, as far as expenses or whatever. Don't go thinking, it's going to go lower. It may, I don't know. It's going to have a limit, because there's just too much buying pressure out there. And the thing is, like with manipulation, even in the short term, it actually springs back harder even in the short term too. There could be, we've had record gains in gold over a 3-day period practically, just in the last week. So you got a correction again. Don't listen to the naysayers, because some people are too emotional with commodities, because commodities are it's classic that commodities are the most risk and reward. they can either be slam you or they can really make you rich fast. They can do one or the other. They're the most erratic of all investments. But in this time and day, when there's a lot of QE and Japan's doing it, going into uncharted territory, Japan, it's going to affect everybody across the board. So don't give up the ship just yet. That's all I got to tell you, man. Just hang on into it because it is going to turn around. And actually, if you're looking back to some of the wisdom of Mark Faber, he did expect that gold was going to correct below 1,500. He said it over a year ago. I thought it was going to correct below 1,500 in the summer of 2012. But the correction period is taking way longer than expected. Actually, he said that again. He's actually the only guy I can really trust in this whole freaking garbage because he's giving you like more general advice, but he doesn't know every specific exact movement that's going on either. But you got to remember, when you put money in gold and silver, you got to keep enough buffer on hand that you're not going to be able to have to be forced to sell. You want to keep enough cash on hand. That's a very, very important consideration. And if you don't have money for gold and silver, there's always Mercury dimes, as somebody pointed out. That was a very smart suggestion. I forgot about that. The Mercury dimes, the old ones before 64, and there's also the physical nickels. So, so just keep accumulating. If physical nickels, probably, you can't lose, it's a nickel, right? That's the way I look at it. But I don't think platinum, I don't know where it's going to go to exactly, but I can tell you right now, platinum is a surefire bet below freaking 1,500. Hey, it might even go lower. I don't know, but there ain't going to be no They're losing money on platinum like crazy, even at much higher prices. I'm serious. They're losing. The mines aren't making money down there in Africa. They're losing money on this stuff. So it ain't. What's going on? It's like they want you Muppets, you middle class. They want you to sell, and they're going to buy it. They'll sell it back to you later. I'm going to add something out here in the end. I was looking at some of these other silver channels because I never look at them. But I was looking at how they cross-reference each other. Like you got BJF and SGT Bull, and you got Chris Duane, right? Chris Duane's got some other name for his channel. I forgot what it was. But, you're basically listening to one voice when you listen to those. I think Endless Mountain was actually referenced on Brother John's F's channel. Him, I think he's good. He's not somebody like a pump and dumper. He's giving you very good technical information, actually. So he's actually worthwhile. But sometimes I wonder why people are following these people around by the nose, man. You're better off, well, I'm going to give you more of a middle of the road approach because I don't follow those guys, man. I follow like people who've actually been in business for a while, and I try to look for scams. So, they're like, I don't know, they're like just one. They're going to be very useful to us later on because this is unfortunate. But they're all telling you like they're saving the middle class. I don't think any of those guys are saving the middle class at all. Tell you the truth, I think they're out there to. I don't know what they're doing, but they're going to pump the metals up a lot, and it's going to enable people like me to sell at high prices because somebody's going to be stupid and buy it at a too high of a price. Actually, the metals right now looking like shit today. This is a good time to buy. Later on, there's going to be a lot of idiots telling me, don't sell it, the dollar's going to nothing. I'll be like taking the dollars and I'll be buying something else that's cheap. That's what I'll be doing. And I'm going to thank people like BJF, SGT Bull, and Chris Duane for leading the herd astray. I'm not doing that, but if they do that, I'm going to take advantage of it. So it's one thing I have to say here on the end. And I bought some platinum today. I sold it. Actually, I sold my platinum that I had, what the hell was it? 17 something? And I bought it at 1,600. I didn't buy it at 14 something. I was stupid, right? I bought it at 1,600 like in 2012. Then I sold it for 17 something right when it was at the height. So I rebought some at, below 1,500. Just a little. I'm keeping good cash reserves. So I don't get everything perfect, man, but you got to have patience and you got to keep a cash reserve. And if you don't have any kind of money for this kind of stuff, just buy the mercury dimes and buy the physical nickels and that type of stuff. Just keep accumulating any little bit you can. Just little bits make a big difference. Just keep, chipping away, keep saving.